All right, hey guys, this is intelligence. It's intelligent cycle. So I'm coming to you guys with two stories, and plus I'm doing a movie review of the movie Novocaine. Uh, so this story I'm talking about is Drake's Nokia returns to the number one on the two Billboard charts and replaces Kendrick Lamar number one on the charts. So here, reading this article right now. So Drake and Kendrick Lamar may be trading maybe trading bars anymore, but the two hip hop heavyweights continue to go back and forth. As on the Billboard charts, their feud dominates the headlines last year, which it appears to be cool for now. But the battle has shifted from diss track to digital song sales, with both men jockeying for control for some of the important tallies in the genre. Drake's Nokia returns to number one. So Drake's latest single, Nokia, is quickly growing into a proper hit. This week, the track climbs on several Billboard rankings, including a pair of genre-specific rosters that center slowly on purchases, and Nokia reclaims the top spot on both the R&B and hip hop digital song sales and rap digital song sales charts. That makes that it's the best selling song, not just in rap, not just in rap, but across the larger hip hop umbrella. Drake is accustomed to leading those battalions, and he's back in charge again after a brief break. But what makes this turn especially interesting is who is he dethroned? And Drake replaces Kendrick Lamar. Nokia kicks Lamar's "Not Like Us" out of the number one spot on the bill on both R&B and hip hop digital song sales and rap digital song sale charts. Lamar had been command in both on both lists of what many saw as the definitive track in their feud. "Not Like Us" was widely regarded as a knockout punch that ended the back and forth between two rappers last spring. Since then, it's become one of the biggest tracks of the past year. Kind of sounded not defines just a season, but even a generation. And Not Like Us is still a close second. And Not Like Us is no longer leading the purchase in centric rankings. It's hardly gone as the tune dips just one rug in each tally, selling at number two. So in that sense, yeah, man, I kind of figured that Drake needed to have a song and the latest single just come back into the charts, at this point because I heard he's been kind of going on Instagram and going on social media, accounting that he's gonna drop some more music coming soon. I really don't want to hear that. I think he really needs to take a break and let things marinate and let things happen. The battle is over. The beef is pretty much gone, and the album "Sexy Songs for You," although it did relatively have some decent numbers, has some decent songs, decent sales, the first week, but 250K sales is nothing really for Drake. He usually goes a million, like, in his first week, from what happened with, of course, what happened with views, and of course, more life. But with him and Party Next Door, just to me didn't corroborate together with that album. It's some songs that really was there, but then I feel like he was trying to go in so many different directions. It just did not go through at all when it comes to the sheer point of just having a having an overall, you know, outlook on his career. And they just basically, from that album, from that collab out with him and Party, they were just going through and just talking about women and everything, in their past lives, and basically moaning and crying about that. And I wasn't really, it wasn't it was just a mediocre album. It didn't really have any more or less lasting power. But this song is pretty much, I hope it does get a music video, because I believe that's one of the best songs on the album to me. I still feel like that was just a one that kind of is still gonna be still staying on the charts um, no matter what he does. And as far as Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us," just pretty much the knockout blow, in the beef and in the feud. Um, I don't think it's gonna do as far as like in Dre's career, because he still has 15, I believe, dominated the game for 15 years and has 14 number one albums, in the Billboard uh, hip hop and R&B charts, and the Billboard charts as well. And he's one of the only few rappers that had more than 10 plus albums that hit the top Billboard 200. Um, every year, from the past 2010s decade, and that just comes within a show forth of just his lasting power, knowing to have more than like one or two, or possibly even three hit songs that really just stayed there no matter what. So yeah, he's still gonna continue to be who he is because his music is still hot and because who he appeals to, who he's marketable to. So that just goes to show you where his line is at. And so I feel like overall he's still gonna be fine where he's at no matter what, no matter what the feud with him and Kendrick has done. It was pretty much exposing, you know, Kendrick was really exposing Drake's uh, authenticity as a writer, as a rapper, just overall as an artist. He was just exposing it and calling out the fact that he don't really like, like real, like he likes him and his team like younger women, like younger girls and everything. It just like it kind of just goes to show you like where his overall like mind and where they overall mind is at. And yeah, they kind of like creeping. They like creeps at the end of the day, man. You gotta just call a spade a spade. And just to me, I see overall just the outlook of both of their careers. They're both gonna be as successful as they are, no matter what it is, no matter what it goes through. But it just goes to show you that, you know, you could be you got to call a spade and call it like it is. And you took the blow, Drake. You took the blow and went after this man's family, went after his wife, went after his guy, his homie Dave Free. You went after this man's image and career, and you didn't think that the backlash was not gonna come back to you. You can't dictate how somebody else is going to respond to your claims. You just can't do that. So that was just how I feel about that part. But as far as the song goes, that like I said, it's one of the few songs I liked on that collab out with him and Party. So, that to me it just goes to show you like it's gonna have some power. But Drake really needs to just take a break and like really consolidate, really experience new things in life, experience things that, you know, we as the audience or we as just fans of rap music or for fans of the music in general, come back with some new takes, with some brand new and fresh ideas. And if you do that, I mean, I think you will come back to good graces, you know. Um, but yeah, man, I've seen some people in the comment section and uh a Waylon, how's it going? White Pass and Edaville. How's it going? All right. But yeah, man, that's just my thoughts about the song itself and what was going on and of course what's going on with the back and forth between them and with Not Like Us, that just goes to show you like where both of those guys is pretty much is at this point. So yeah, man, I really think that everybody has to gotta move on from it at this point because we already know what the end result was. And the long he keeps egging on and keep edging it on, the longer he goes and tries to go after labels and companies, his own company, UMG, the longer continues to egg on his thing on this beef, it's not gonna look good for him. It's not gonna look good for his mental health and his mental health and it's pretty much his ego is pretty much also getting exposed as well. So yeah, man, those are pretty much my thoughts about just the Nokia song and pretty much the whole thing between the beef between at the time between Drake and Kendrick. I never got a chance to spoke about this, on the channel and anything, but now you pretty much heard what I gotta say and my overall opinion. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about that. I'm gonna go to the other story that I wanted to highlight as well. And that is I wanted to highlight this Stephen A. Smith message that he sent on Pat McAfee show from in an interview with Pat McAfee as he sends a strong message to LeBron James in regards to his claims and talking about his son. So multiple reports have indicated that there's a perceived power struggle at the ESPN between the company's two biggest stars, Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. And Stephen A. Smith took to social media to deny those claims, stating, "I root for my teammates, not against them, and I sure never encourage my colleagues to do otherwise. The more Pat McAfee show succeeds, the better it is for the rest of us." But ever since McAfee joined ESPN on a 5-year, 5-year, $85 million contract in 2023, after breaking his deal with FanDuel to join the largest sports media giant, he believed he and Smith had pitted against each other due to their garnished personalities and exorbitantly high salaries. And so when McAfee secured an interview with Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James, which aired on his Pat McAfee show on Wednesday, which many believe ruffled Smith's feathers, he was seemingly upstaged by one of his own colleagues, a narrative plenty of fans pointed out on social media. So let me get this straight. Stephen A. Smith is supposed to be ESPN's biggest star, face of the network, and paid like it, but the Pat McAfee show just ran an hour plus interview with LeBron James. Stephen A. ain't the face of ESPN. It's Pat, a one fan role. Pat McAfee really just got the best LeBron interview the media could ever dream, and during the season. Kids don't understand how goated Pat truly is for this. I'm pretty sure LeBron has never done a sit down interview like this his entire career, unless it was on his platform. Another noted. And while many people were dunking on Smith for James' interview on McAfee's show, and for McAfee asking four-time MVP about his highly public rivalry with First Take host Smith, actually took time during his show today, Thursday morning, to applaud McAfee for the job he did with the James interview. And congratulations, Pat McAfee, Smith said. First of all, anybody would have gotten that interview. I took no issue with the job that Pat McAfee did. Having LeBron James on the show, anybody would have done that. But the questions that he asked was more than appropriate. An outstanding job by him and his team, no doubt about that. Among the questions McAfee asked James about Smith were the heated confrontation. They got into the following: LA's 113 to 109 overtime win over the New York Knicks on March the 6th, how critical Smith has been of James' son Bronny, and how media members covered the NBA. So I talked about Stephen A's controversial comments about LeBron James' son, and how it wasn't controversial at all. He was just telling like the rest of us in on YouTube have been doing for a while. He's been talking like the same thing of how everybody else on YouTube has been saying in plenty of chats and podcasters, and just overall, like he's been telling you guys this stuff like many of us have been saying before. And the thing is, you know, LeBron will take it however he want to take it, just like a lot of NBA stars, NFL stars, a lot of celebrities, and a lot of athletes have done as well. Is take things completely out of context. And that's the problem in today's culture, in today's era, is we love to take things completely out of context. So when LeBron goes on a Pat McAfee show, has an interview, and he goes in and just basically just straight rambles on and just goes in on Stephen A, taking his comments literally about his son and out of context, instead of actually looking into the bigger picture, saying, hey, look, I'm not trying to sit up here and disregard you as a parent, as a father. That's not what he was saying. He was talking about how his son, he's going to do whatever he wants, to help his son get into the league and get his son, on a professional roster, because he wants to stay there in LA. But we've been saying this in the community, in the Lions Den basketball community. We've been saying this I've been seeing this on plenty of podcasts too, like All the Smoke, for example. I've been seeing this on uh, the Knuckleheads podcast with Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. I've seen this so many where on NBA podcasts, YouTube channels, that we've been saying the same thing about Bronny James not being ready to be in this game, because the game is so different. The pro era of sport, professional sports is so different, than high school and even college because the endurance, the ability to stay on the court, be healthy, playing two-way game, improving your free throw shooting, your jump shooting. You gotta have, or even like just ability to guard and have an eye sense on leading and being a floor general. It's completely different on that level, and we just did not think he was ready because just the limited amount of playing time that he's had, and not only the limited amount of playing time that he's had, the limited amount of time he's not really seen on the court, and the times that he is on the court, he's not fit. He's just not fit overall. And to me, what Stephen A. said was not anything remotely new of what we all have already has said and done. So my thing is for LeBron James to get all in a little hissy fit, to get all in, all up in his caught up in his feelings, it's just completely pathetic, in my opinion. It's just pathetic. And it just goes to show you that a lot of these athletes have egos, are very egotistical, egomaniacs. A lot of these athletes, to me, have so much pride and think that they have, I mean, they think they have, excuse me, they think they have so much pride, guts, and glory, but they really is selfish in a lot of eyes. And they treat their fans like complete crap, you know. And that's just the bottom line, in my opinion. You can't treat your fans like however you want to treat them because they don't like a certain thing that you do and they don't like the certain moves that you make. That's just not how you function in life. That's not how you function, you know, every day on your everyday life or your everyday goal. And to me, that just goes to show you the entitlement as well, um, and not even just with LeBron, but just the entitlement period with a lot of these athletes today, man. No matter what sports you go to, it always has that. Um, and I just hate the fact that Stephen A. has to get this kind of a message from LeBron. This interview with Pat McAfee is just like he's only just doing what he's supposed to, speaking on something, critiquing something, and like giving his opinion and just letting it go. Now, there are many things that I disagree with Stephen A. Smith on. There are many things I disagree with Dominic Foxworth on. There's many things I disagree with Max Kellerman on. When Max Kellerman used to be on First Take, you know, they're not the smartest guys in the world, but they damn sure not the guys who, you know, say things and then don't put things into complete context, or you know put things, put opinions, put their own perspectives in the thing in the areas where they're gonna get criticized or they're gonna get ridiculed no matter what. So they this is just the way things goes in professional, uh in journalism, and things that goes, and also in their entertainment as well, because their job not only is to tell the stories like it is, but to also entertain you as well and be informative. And there are times where they're not always as informative, don't get me wrong, but they have got to have a responsibility. And the athletes have a responsibility to have thick skin. And so the fact that they don't have the thick skin and, you know, just say, just ignore these things and just let things just roll on by and just pass by, they have the ability to just, be combative. And that's just the problem that I have with not only just journalism and sports journalism, but I have it in political and politics as well, and they integrated politics into sports as well, and that's what makes it horrible. That's what makes the era of just reporting just bad, and also the athletes just not having thick skin. But that's just overall my thoughts about the whole message from Stephen A. Smith. Uh, and also, I'm glad that he, send shout outs to his fellow colleague, Pat McAfee. That was a really good look for him to even acknowledge that. That was cool. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the whole message that he had to send to Pat McAfee about the interview with LeBron. Just for me, I just think that LeBron is really not looking at the bigger picture, and the comments that Stephen A. Smith are making that fans are reacting to is completely overblown because he actually is right in this point about it. That's just how it is. But those are just my thoughts. Um, Let me know what you guys think. And so, one last one before I go is I'm gonna talk about the movie Novocaine. Now, I Novocaine that came out, and this is directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson. So it's about when a girl of his Jack Quaid's character Novocaine gets kidnapped. A man turns an inability to feel pain into an unexpected advantage as he fights a bunch of thugs to get her back. So yeah, he fights a bunch of thugs, local convicts, street thugs that he sees, overall. And once he gets the girls of his dreams back and fights them all and ability to feel pain, blood starts to get on his hands a lot, and he starts to feel all the weight on his shoulders. Um, and to me, I wasn't really the hugest fan of the trailers when I first seen it, and I'm glad I wasn't. I'm glad I didn't really check this movie out when I first saw it, because boy, I would have absolutely hated it. Because this movie, to me, I was not a huge fan of this movie, and I don't know why. Uh, I'm not trying to play the trailers of that. Um, Let me try to get. Okay, here we go. All right, so like I was saying, yeah, I don't I was not a huge fan of this movie, man. I think this movie to me is way too silly, too goofy. It was not funny in the slightest to me, man. I felt like there was so many things wrong. Like the comedy to me was very, very one note, very bland. I feel the acting was very one note, generic, formulaic. Like I've already seen this done before. Like it's like a who did it, who done it kind of thing. Like, oh, the damsel distressed girl gets kidnapped and guy who suddenly just inability to feel pain, inability to feel the angst, and now all of a sudden, and he played the character he plays also is Nathan, but he goes by the character Novocaine, who has an ability to feel pain and everything, and goes and ends up in a confrontation with another robber, Ben Clark, in a restaurant kitchen, and he eventually shoots Ben dead, but before then, he's severely burning his hand while retrieving his gun from a deep fryer. And after noting Ben's tattoo, Nathan only asked his only friend Roscoe Dixon, a gardener whom he has never met in person, to help him find the artist. And he successfully tracks down the artist Zeno and interrogates him for Ben's address, hoping to find Sherry. After a brawl, Nathan manages to get Ben's last name from Zeno, and he calls a colleague to find Ben's home and address using his loan documents. And Ben's house is booby trapped, and Nathan ends up stuck in a snare. In desperation, he calls Roscoe. Ben's brother, Andre, enters the house and begins to torture Nathan, who feigns feeling pain. Roscoe arrives, and then together they overpower and kill Andre. Police officers Mincy Langston and her partner, Coltrane Duffy, arrive at the house and arrest Roscoe, who has switched clothes with Nathan. And Nathan locates Sherry and Simon into an auto shop and discovers that she is Simon's sister and accomplice to the heist. And she originally intended to seduce Nathan to lean to a bank vault code to develop real feelings for him, as he was horrified that Simon needlessly murdered her boss, Nigel. So, yeah, like I was saying earlier with the movie, to me, I felt the characters were super bland, were one note, very formulaic, didn't add much what I've anticipated. Um, I wasn't a huge fan of the trailers when they first came out. They just kind of felt very one note, very uh, generic and formulaic. did not add to much what I was hoping for. I was going to this movie just expecting just a slapstick comedy, some decent action, some decent gunshots, gunfire, and just like overall, some decent act and decent fight sequences and decent action set pieces. Didn't get none of that in this movie, and I felt the pacing, went by super super quickly. I felt like it was hard to really get through it, because I felt like it was going through and sliding through a bit too fast, bit too off pace and off kilter to me, man. Um, I felt Nathan, um, who was called Novocaine in the movie, played by Jack Quaid. I wasn't a huge fan of his acting in the movie. He's a decent actor, but just to me, this movie did not do him justice, did not do him good. Um, I did like Amber Myth Hunter, and she was also the character that she was also the actress that was in the movie Prey, the Predator movie Prey that came out in 22. She was okay in here. Ray Nicholson, I didn't really care for him. Matt Walsh, didn't really care for him either in the film. The direction was kind of very like all over the place. It was varied in so much. Like it was concentrating on being an action movie, action heist movie. Then it wanted to be more of a suspense. Then it wanted to be a crime thriller. It was juggling between so many other different genres. Um, and just didn't pique my interest, man. So yeah, for me, I would not recommend this film to a lot of people. I would not one recommend for a lot of folks to check this one out. If I had to rate this, I would give it like a straight 4 out of 10. I was not a huge fan of this film. It was too silly and too goofy for me. And this film actually came out March the 14th, uh, a couple weeks ago. I just was like, man, I didn't even want to do this review because I was just not there. Oh, and I forgot to mention the guy who played Ned Leeds in Spider-Man Homecoming and throughout the whole John Watts Spider-Man films, Genki, he was also in this film as well, and I didn't like his character either in the film. And yeah, he didn't really do much of any good for me, in my opinion. So, but yeah, though that's just my overall movie review for Novocaine and all of my thoughts on the couple latest stories that I told you guys earlier. Follow me. I'm gonna continue to do more live streams and uh, and give you guys more content like this. So um, keep following the page and subscribing because I got more content coming for you guys. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep going because I love doing this. I love talking to fans. I love talking to you guys, and um, and I love delivering you guys content that I want to talk about, man. So yeah, just keep watching for more. I'm out. Peace.